Some days are more than just dates, they echo through history. The 10th day of Muharram Ashura is one such day. It holds a special place in the hearts of millions, carrying stories of faith, struggle, and meaning. Ashura is not a single story, but a tapestry of moments that shape its deep spiritual significance. It invites us to reflect on our relationship with the divine, with truth, and with each other. History, as seen through Ashura, is a living lesson and a guide for the future. Across traditions, Ashura is observed with reverence, sometimes as a day of gratitude, sometimes as a day of mourning. These streams of remembrance merge into a powerful river of faith. The word Ashura comes from the Arabic for 10, marking its place in the Islamic calendar. Muharram, the month of Ashura, is one of Islam's 4 sacred months, a time for peace and contemplation. Ashura stands as the centerpiece, calling us to connect with timeless principles. It transcends boundaries, speaking to a universal human quest for meaning. Ashura is a day of contrasts, joy and sorrow, victory and tragedy, life and martyrdom. True victory, it reminds us, is not always measured by worldly success, but by standing firm for one's principles. The stories of Ashura continue to inspire hope and courage, no matter how dark the night. The story of Ashura stretches back to the dawn of humanity, woven into the lives of many prophets. On this day, Adam's repentance was accepted, marking a new beginning for humanity. The prophet Nuh's ark came to rest, symbolizing deliverance and hope after the flood. Ibrahim was saved from Nimrod's fire, a testament to faith overcoming the fiercest trials. Yunus was freed from the belly of the great fish, showing hope can emerge from the deepest despair. Each story adds a layer of meaning, making Ashura a day of mercy, forgiveness, and salvation. These narratives teach that redemption is always possible for those who sincerely seek it. Ashura celebrates divine mercy across the ages, uniting believers in gratitude and hope. It is a day of universal significance, echoing the enduring bond between humanity and the divine. Fasting on Ashura is a tradition rooted in shared heritage and gratitude. When Prophet Muhammad arrived in Medina, he found the Jewish community fasting to commemorate Moses' deliverance from Pharaoh. He affirmed this legacy, saying, "We have more right to Moses than you," and fasted on Ashura, recommending it to his followers. To distinguish the Muslim fast, he advised fasting on the 9th or 11th as well. This voluntary fast is highly encouraged, seen as a way to expiate minor sins and draw closer to God. The Hadith emphasize its spiritual benefits, with the Prophet stating it atones for the previous year's sins. Fasting on Ashura is more than abstaining from food. It's an act of empathy and thankfulness. It connects us to a tradition of deliverance and gratitude that spans generations. Through this fast, believers honor the shared legacy of faith and divine mercy. Centuries after Moses, Ashura became forever linked to Hussein ibn Ali, the Prophet Muhammad's grandson. In 680, Hussein faced a choice: pledge allegiance to Yazid, whom he saw as unjust, or stand for his principles. Refusing to endorse tyranny, Hussein chose justice over safety. With a small group of family and companions, he journeyed toward Kufa, only to be intercepted and stranded in Karbala. Cut off from water, they endured days of thirst and hunger under the scorching sun. Hussein's group, just over 70, faced an army of thousands. Despite overwhelming odds, Hussein's resolve never wavered. He sought peaceful resolution, but his calls were rejected. On the 10th of Muharram, Ashura, the final confrontation unfolded. Hussein knew he would not win in worldly terms, but he stood firm for truth. His sacrifice turned defeat into a moral victory, a story told for generations. The tragedy of Karbala is not just a battle, but a testament to conviction in the face of adversity. Hussein's stand became a timeless symbol of resistance against injustice. His legacy endures as a beacon for those who value principle over power. Ashura through Karbala teaches that true victory lies in unwavering faith and integrity. Ashura at Karbala was marked by acts of extraordinary bravery and sacrifice. Hussein's companions entered battle knowing they faced certain death, fighting not for glory, but for justice. Their loyalty reflected their commitment to the values Hussein embodied. The agony of thirst was relentless, especially for the children. In a heart-wrenching moment, Hussein pleaded for water for his infant son, only to witness his child's death in his arms. This moment captured the cruelty and the depth of sacrifice at Karbala. The women, led by Zainab, showed immense courage, tending to the wounded and later, as captives, speaking truth to power. Zainab's voice ensured the story of Karbala would not be silenced. In his final moments, Hussein stood alone, his loved ones fallen, yet his spirit unbroken. His death was not an end, but the beginning of a legacy as the master of martyrs. Karbala is a story of sorrow, but also of profound love for God, justice, and humanity. It shows that a life's true value lies in its purpose and the principles for which it is lived. Karbala's lesson is clear. Truth is not defined by numbers but by principle. Hussein's small group, though vastly outnumbered, stood on the side of justice. Ashura reminds us that a single voice for truth can outweigh 1,000 for falsehood. Hussein could have chosen comfort by submitting to injustice, but he chose resistance. His stand was both political and spiritual, a declaration that faith demands action against tyranny. Ashura calls us to find our voice and stand for what is right, even when it's difficult. True peace comes from striving for justice, not passive acceptance of wrong. For Hussein and his companions, faith was lived through action, not just ritual. Their courage shows that true faith inspires us to make the world more just and compassionate. The concept of sacrifice is central. Hussein gave everything for a cause greater than himself. His sacrifice was purposeful, reminding us that some principles are worth any cost. Ashura challenges us to reflect on what we are willing to sacrifice for our beliefs. It asks us to consider what truly matters beyond comfort and security. The legacy of Karbala remains deeply relevant today. Hussein's story is a universal call to challenge injustice wherever it exists. It urges us to be advocates for the marginalized and to work for fairness and dignity for all. Hussein's unwavering principles teach the importance of a strong moral compass. Ashura calls us to find our own line in the sand and stand firm for our values. The power of remembrance is vital. Zainab and the survivors preserved the truth for future generations. By sharing these stories, we keep the lessons of sacrifice and courage alive. Karbala teaches that hope and true victory may not be immediate, but their impact endures. We are encouraged to plant seeds of justice even if we don't see them grow. No act of courage or stand for truth is ever wasted. Honoring Ashura's spirit today begins with the voluntary fast, connecting us to a tradition of deliverance and sacrifice. Fasting cultivates self-discipline, empathy, and gratitude. Beyond fasting, Ashura is a time for reflection and learning, studying the stories of the prophets and Karbala. The goal is to understand the principles beneath the events and apply them to our lives. Ashura calls us to support the oppressed and stand for justice in our communities. This can mean donating, volunteering, or raising awareness for those in need. Honoring Ashura means turning its lessons into compassionate action. Prayer is also central, asking for guidance, strength, and justice for all. Turning to the divine reminds us that true strength comes from a higher power. Ashura is a moment to renew our faith and commitment to being forces for good. Its message is lived through action, reflection, and prayer. Ashura is not a relic, it's a living call to conscience. It asks us, are we standing with truth or silent in the face of injustice? The principles for which Hussein stood are timeless and relevant today. Ashura invites us to reflect on our values and live by them with courage and compassion. Its spirit is not confined to a single day, but meant to guide us always. The message is one of hope. Even in darkness, the light of principle endures. A stand for truth, however small, can ripple through time. Ashura reminds us that the human spirit, fortified by faith, is capable of extraordinary things. Let us honor the memory of the prophets and martyrs by living lives worthy of their legacy. The journey of Ashura continues within each of us. What will your part in this story be?